Hey y'all, as you can probably hear in my voice that I'm sick today, so I'm going to do this video to support you as we go through today's lesson. We do have a quiz later in the class, so make sure that you're following along. It's an open note quiz, so make sure that you're taking notes this morning. So hopefully at this point you should have done page 37 and 38 in your notebook. This was homework. But maybe you need a little bit more time, so try a couple more of those problems. Those were the graphing ones. We're going to go over all 6 of those graphing ones in just a few minutes. So please pause the video if there's a significant amount of students that haven't done it yet, and we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to try 37 and 38. All right, so here's the agenda today. We're going to review the homework. Part of that review is going to be some of the practice that we're going to do for the day. I'm going to give you about 30 minutes for the quiz, or the sub should give you 30 minutes for the quiz. It is an open note quiz, and you can use a calculator. So make sure that you are taking advantage of these notes that we take today. And then I'm going to have some homework that I'd like you to do in preparation for next class. I know we're going fast, y'all, but the more you do, the better outcomes we're going to get at the end of the year when you take and pass your ESPA, which is really our ultimate goal. All right, so hopefully you've had a chance to do these. These are on page 37. Now, each of these are a matching activity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start thinking about each of these 4, and I'm going to match them to one of these 4 equations over here. So when I look at these are not in y equals mx plus b form, and I want to get them in that way. So I'm going to do it with a blue pen for this first one. I'm going to try and get these all into y equals mx plus b form, and they're not yet. So I need to subtract 2x from this side and subtract 2x from that side. So now I have negative y is greater than negative 2x and then positive 6. Well, if I have negative y here, I need to get rid of negative part, so I can either multiply or divide by negative 1. I like to divide. Divide by negative 1, and then everything gets divided by negative 1. Now remember, when you divide by negative 1, everything flips. So the sign flips. So it's going to be positive y is less than the sign from up here flipped as it came down here. Negative 2x divided by negative 1 is 2x, and then positive 6 divided by negative 1 is negative 6. So I'm looking for a line that is not a solid line. So I know 1 doesn't work for this, and I know that 4 doesn't work for this. Y is less than 2x minus 6. So minus 6, there's minus 6. My rate of change is 2x, so up 2 over 1. So this is a possibility. And then I check over here, negative 6, up 2 over 1. So both of these are possibilities. Now, if I pick a value of y, let's pick 0, 0, for example. So 0, 0. If I substitute 0, 0 into here, what do I get? Well, is 0 less than 2 times 0 minus 6? 0 less than negative 6? This is a false statement. Because this is false, I know that that is not a solution. So I know that this first one goes to 2. Because when I plug the point 0, 0 in, it makes a false statement, which is true here. Okay, now I'm going to think about this second one. I've got y is less than or equal to 2x minus 6. Well, this is essentially the same graph, but instead of a dashed line like this one had, because there was no equal sign below, this one does have an equal sign, and so the line should be solid and look very similar to number 2. And that's why we get 4. So this second one links to 4. Again, I'm looking at this third one now. This third one, it's not in y equals mx plus b form, but if I subtract 6 from both sides, it will be. So if I subtract 6, so I get 2x minus 6 is less than y. I have a y-intercept of negative 6. All of these look like they have a y-intercept of negative 6 and a slope of 2. But the y values should be bigger because y is bigger than the line. And again, if I pick 0, 0, that's a really nice place to pick. So I'm choosing between these two. Well, I know that this one goes to 3, and here's why. Because it's not an equal sign. Not an equal sign. And then by process of elimination, this last one goes to number 1. So if I were to put numbers next to them, I would say the first one is 2. The second one goes to 4. The third one goes to 3. And the fourth one goes to number 1. All right, so all of these are very similar to what you'll see in your quiz. We're going to go through them very, very quickly. I don't have these in y equals mx plus b form, so I'm going to get all of them into y equals mx plus b form. To do that, I need to add 10x to both sides so that of the equal sign, so I get y is greater than 10x plus 25. And when I do that, I get, let's do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and then 50. And then we'll go by ones over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that my line is going to be dashed because of the symbol that I have right here. And it's going to start at positive 25. Start at positive 25. And then rise 10 and run 1. So rise 10, run 1, rise 10, run 1. If I go backwards, and I know it's a dashed line kind of going in this direction. Well, if I'm testing values, I'm going to choose an easy one. I like to choose 0, 0 because I can substitute 0 for y and 0 for x. So if I pick 0, 0, is 0 greater, is 0 greater than 25? This is a false statement. So if it's false right there, if it's false at 0, 0, I'm actually going to shade the other side. And look, y is bigger than that. So I grab my highlighter, or you could use a pencil if you wanted to, and we're going to shade the side that makes the values true. So I could pick any value on this side of the line, and it will give me a true statement in the equation. So I could pick negative 315 and plug it into the equation, and it would give me a true statement. Okay, again, y is greater than or equal to negative 6. So what values work? Well, any value that is negative 6 or bigger. And it's an equal sign, so it's a solid line. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. Negative 6, a solid line. And I shade values of y that are bigger than negative 6. So everything above that line gets shaded in. And it doesn't, right now, it doesn't matter too much how well you shade it in, but just so we get an understanding that it's shaded above. Okay, another one that's pretty straightforward. I'm going to make the tick marks by 5. So 5, I'm going to do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and then similarly, so 5 and then negative 5. So each tick mark is 5, and then go by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and negative 4. So I start at positive 15. Start at positive 15, 5, 10, 15, and my change in y over change in x is negative 7.5x. So it means I'm going down 7.5, I'm going down 7.5 and over 1, down 7.5 and over 1, down 7.5 and over 1. Okay, and it's a solid line because it's it could be equal to. So a solid line, and I'm going to pick values that make it true. So I almost always pick 0, 0 unless it's on the line. Is 0 less than or equal to negative 7.5 times 0 plus 15? Is this statement true? Is 0 less than or equal to 15? Well, yes, 0 is less than or equal to 15. So I'm going to take my marker, and I'm going to shade on the side with the dot that makes it true. So I chose on the side of the dot that makes it true. And it goes all of this. Everything gets shaded in. And again, I just need to get on your quiz, I just need to get a sense that you understand which side is shaded. Okay, a couple more, just really quickly. We have to solve all of these for y first. So minus 2x, minus 2x, minus 2x. So negative 8y is less than or equal to 24, we'll do 2x, negative 2x plus 24. Solving for y, I have to divide by negative 8. Remember, when we divide by negatives, we have to flip the sign. So this is going to be y. Flip the sign is greater than or equal to, negative 8 reduces to 1/4 x, 24 divided by 8 is 3, so negative 3. I start at negative 3, and I go up 1, and then over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then up 1, and then over 4 more. I guess I could go backwards. It came from there. And it's a solid line because it could be equal to, and I'm going to test my test point. Y is greater than, I'm going to try my test point here of 0, 0. I like 0, 0. Is 0 greater than or equal to 1/4 times 0 minus 3? So 0 greater than or equal to negative 3. That's a true statement, so I'm going to shade everything above. Everything above the line. So each one of these takes me about 2 minutes to do, so I'm assuming that you can go a little bit slower than I will, just because I kind of know what I'm doing. So that's what I expect on a test, and that's why I decided on the 30-minute time frame. Okay, 2 more. Y equals 3x is less than y. Well, this is in y equals mx plus b form. 3x plus 0. 3x plus 0 is less than y. So my starting point is 0. My rise is 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1. Up 3 over 1. Up 3, rise is 3, change in y is 3. My run is 1. Up 3 and over 1. And then it's a dashed line because it's not less than or equal to. Okay, it's a dashed line, and I'm going to need to choose. I cannot choose 0, 0 this time. And here's why. Because I can't choose a point on the line. So I'm going to choose a slightly different point. I'm going to choose the point 2, 0. The point 2, 0. Just to see what happens. So 3 times 2, is that less than 0? So is 6 less than 0? That's a false statement, so I shade the other side. I mean, I suppose I could pick a different point, but I'm going to shade the side that's going to be true. If I picked any point in this region, it would be true, but not including the line. I couldn't pick a point on the line, I suppose. Okay. And last one before we go off to our quiz. I'll have you do a couple minutes to take your quiz. 2x is greater than 0. Well, this is kind of a tricky one because it is in y equals mx plus b form, but there's no y. So this is a one variable equation, and that's a little tricky because which values of x are 2 times whatever is greater than 0? Well, if I simplify and solve for x, divide by 2, x is going to be greater than 0 divided by 2 is 0. So this is also a true statement. Which values of x are greater than 2? I've got my x-axis, I've got my y-axis. Which values of x are greater than 2? Well, here, is x greater than 2? No. Is x greater than 2? No. Is x greater than 2? Yes, absolutely. So anything greater than 0, so not including the y-axis, any number bigger than over on this side of the graph, anything over on this side of the graph, above or below, the x value is bigger than 0. Because the coordinates of all of these points are bigger and greater than 0. So before you take your assessment, I want you to take about 5 or 10 minutes, let's say 5 minutes, and then if you need more, the sub can make that assessment, that judgment. I want you to be sure that you have 30 minutes for your assessment. I want you to have 30 minutes for sure. But I would like you to please just kind of talk with your neighbor about things that you have questions about and address those before you take your quiz and when you're ready and you can begin your quiz. Sorry you couldn't be here today. Do your best. We'll come back and I'll look at these when we come back, and I will see you next Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Sorry I'm out today, but I do not feel very well at all. Have a good one. I'll see you soon.